welcome to another FACEHAMMER Advent video. Thanks to everyone who's been interacting with us on Discord and following the series. And today we have got a Lumineth list from Les to talk about, so fire away.
A different one, yeah. It's so yeah, I figured I'd do a different list based around some Dawnriders because I really actually quite rate the Dawnriders in the book. I rate them as, you know, rules wise, painting wise, completely different thing. But because they're quite difficult to paint, as Russ will no doubt tell you. So yeah, I basically this list is based around the great nation of Zaitrec. Now I've not taken a battalion in this, which ultimately makes it probably a little bit less competitive than it could be, due to the stuff that's out there at the moment with regards to killing sort of like key elements of the list. But I'll go through it anyway, because I feel that, you know, if you're going to get one dropped by a KO army or three dropped, you compromise too much. So there are going to be some bad matchups. I'm sure people will tell me what they are in the comments below. So feel free to do that. So yeah, it's based around the Great Nation of Zaitrec, which gives you +1 to cast on the first attempt at your spell casting that turn. Obviously, this doesn't apply to Teclis, who is the first choice at the top of the list. So I've got Teclis just for his magical dominance, the fact that he knows all of the spells, like Lore of Hysh and Lore of the Mountains, really, really good, particularly combo, you know, being able to get off sort of like Voice of the Mountain and then force battle shocks through, as well as his innate blow up spell. Can't remember what it's called, but the one that does D6 mortals or D3 mortals. You've got 2 units of Wardens, one with Speed of Hysh, one with the Ethereal Blessing, because you're either going to want to get that off on Teclis or on one of the unit of Dawnriders. By that I mean Ethereal Blessing, just to be able to make the unit a little bit more survivable, as well as being able to cast the Ignite weapons, which is, you know, the additional +1 to the mortal wound output from their spears. I've got a unit of 20 Sentinels because 20 Sentinels, personally, in my opinion, is a go-to in every list. I feel like 40 Sentinels is that sweet spot. I feel like you are skewing your army particularly heavily if you put in like more than 40. If you do like the 60 Sentinel list out there, you know, whilst that is very good, it also dies to a stiff breeze if something gets into it. So yeah, I've got 20 Sentinels and 10 Sentinels, both with Lambent Light, because you never know when you're going to want to be able to get that spell off to be able to re-roll the mortal wound spells. And then I've got 2 units of Dawnriders, one with the protection of Hysh, because I would see that one operating outside of Teclis's bubble, because the protection of Teclis and protection of Hysh doesn't work, whereas protection, you know, so because these are quite fast moving, these are the guys that are going to be out like attacking the enemy, you're going to want to be able to get that 5-up shrug, you know, from these guys. And the other unit has got Solar Flare due to the fact that it's sort of like a mini mortal wound blow up spell, and also debuffs your opponent's chances of, you know, casting their spells. I've also got the 2 things that basically come with Teclis as standard, in my opinion, which is the Spellportal and the Palisade. Admittedly, the Palisade, if you are playing against a 1-drop army, Teclis is already dead. But if you've got you play against like a mixed arm, if you're playing a 1-drop that shoots, Teclis is dead, so it doesn't matter. If you are playing against an army that has shooting, you get the opportunity to go first, the Palisade protects Teclis. Now, obviously, Teclis has got the Spellportal, and the Palisade is, you know, you can only cast one endless spell. So I would position Wardens next to Teclis to be able to get Palisade down or get the portal down, depending on how you'd apply it. You know, I think personally the Teclis Mortal Wound AoE effect, which is that the area effect spell, is so good through the Spellportal that, you know, that will be his go-to in my personal opinion. And then you'll be using the Wardens to try and get that Palisade up just to protect him if there is any shooting, or which again, it stops people charging through the Palisade. So yeah, I mean, there are quite, you know, as we touched on, if you're playing a 1-drop army with it shoots you, Teclis is dead, but you still got the ability to go and do damage to your opponent at range. You know, most people put all their eggs in one basket trying to kill Teclis. The army still has spells, and obviously still has shooting, so it's still it's not going to be as effective, and you're paying a lot of points to have Teclis in that force. But I feel that, you know, the maneuverability of the Dawnriders are just like Paramount. They're so good. You know, it's going to win you some games, it's going to lose you some games, but I think a lot of the things with Lumineth are that there is a finesse element to them. If you're not taking sort of like the one drop, I'm just going to shoot you list, which is just you pick a unit, you roll your dice, you shoot it, you move on to the next thing. And yeah, I think it's quite an interesting one. I think it'd be fun to play. I don't know what you think, Russ. I think you probably prefer to play against this than you would my Avenlore Stone Guard list.
Probably not actually, purely because I don't like Teclis, but I actually don't mind the Avenlore list when you know, if you've got the tools to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, I think the chance of Dawnriders and then being Battleline as well means in like missions like Scorched Earth, they're going to be really good. I think that's the one you need Battleline to burn now. It's either that or it's Better Part of Valor. It's one of them. Might be Better Part, but anyway. So you've got a fast move in. Core unit. You've still got the shooting. You know, you've got Teclis and his shenanigans. So I mean, it's okay.
I think it's like one of those, like looking at the list again, I think maybe you could take Solar Flare off one of the Dawnrider units and run them in tandem with Speed of Hysh, just in case you need to get across the table a bit differently, because obviously one of the Wardens has got Speed of Hysh on them to be able to cast on that unit. So yeah, maybe you could do that as well, just to be able to, because they're just so fast. They cause, you know, quite a lot of, you know, it's not necessarily the damage output that's the big threat. It's the fact that if you get Speed of Hysh off, which you're likely to because they get +1 on the first time that they attempt to cast a spell, you know, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna be wherever they need to be on the battlefield, which is quite good. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think maybe not having a battalion really limits what you can do with the list, particularly out there where battalions are paramount and 3 drop and below is like the sweet spot currently. It feels like, judging by what I've seen discussed online or what I've seen on, like, you know, certain TTS, you know, army list sort of discussion. Admittedly, like, I don't play on TTS, so it's not something that's going to, you know, really affect me long term. But yeah, I kind of think it works okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's got, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got shooting, you've got speed, you've got some reliable combat units. I think maybe a bit character light. I think for me, I'd want to have another hero in there, because some of the missions are auto lose if you if you go into you know, like duality or 3 places or something like that, and if you lose Teclis, or you have to expose him by putting him forward, and then he's not the most survivable. I think so. Like a Light of a Failring would be a good addition. I know it's expensive, but
that's the problem, I think, innately with Lumineth, is that you've got Teclis, which is a big point sink, which you don't want anywhere near your opponent in duality, or you've got Avenlore, who is a beat stick, but it's also a big point investment. If you're taking him and Teclis in your list, that's nearly 1,000 points, maybe over. Can't bother to do the maths. The Stone Mage is just doesn't cut it on its own, and I also think the Cathlar, again, whilst the Cathlar is really good, I think that benefits if you build a list around it. You know, taking larger units of Wardens, because essentially her ability is like immune to battle shock for that unit. Anyway, so I think that works, but she's also only a 5 wound 5-up save character, so it's.
I think the only really survivable one, I mean, apart from Avenlore, is Altharion. But to put him in, you essentially lose the Palisade and drop one of the Dawnriders down to 5.
Yeah,
which is there isn't really much of a way to do it. I think if you sort of said, well, actually, then let's put Avenlore in. Yeah, you almost then would have to drop the Sentinels down as well. And then you're in,
and it becomes a completely different list then as well. Like, you know, you may as well, like, it's very. I think that is inherently one of the weak points in the Lumineth book, is that there is your super character is very easy to kill. I mean, admittedly, if he gets the Ethereal spell off on himself, it makes him a little bit more survivable with that 4-up ignore. And you know, you can give him the 4-up ignore, and you give him the, you know, protection of Teclis. He's got the 4-up and then the 5-up shrug. It makes him a bit more survivable, but you've got to have the opportunity to do that. like I said, Spirit of Artharian, I love. I think he's a great, he's this sort of like the war scroll that every sort of character of that size should be based upon, because I think he does everything really well. But his points just makes him so difficult to find space for him in the list. And I always find that
they can ally with Idoneth, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think
Sorry about the noise. That was just a cat knocking something off the side.
Yeah, so I think they can only ally with Idoneth. So
I've just
you're restricted. But the only really survivable hero you've got access to is an Achillean King, which is more expensive than Alfarian. So you might just have Alfarian. So yeah, I think, I mean, whether or not you just accept the weakness, but for me, I would rather lose the 5 Dawnriders and the Palisade and get Alfarian in, just because it gives me a hero that can do something like that, and he is a pain to get rid of. But
I guess it's one of those, isn't it? Like, you have to weigh up the odds, don't you? If you look at it and you just go like, hero scoring missions, I could be in a lot of trouble with, unless I can take out all of my opponent's heroes before they take out mine, which is something that the Lumineth are very good at doing. So it's kind of, with the Sentinels and Teclis is more all-in blow up. It's I can see the argument for both cases, but yeah, I do think duality or any hero scoring mission is going to be very tough, particularly if you play somebody that's got a lot of survivable heroes or some survivable heroes.
Yeah, it's just because obviously, like, to put Teclis forward is a bit scary.
Yeah, I mean, my plan would be kill all the heroes and then win on the last turn. So, you just basically go like, kill all your heroes with the Teclis AOE spell plus the Sentinels, and then if like at that point you can then go forward. It depends on what you're playing against. I feel like
I'd say you're probably unlikely to have the choice a turn because you've got 7 drops.
Yeah, again, so you kind of like theory out, don't you? So like most people would come forward at that point. They either come forward and get all the objectives
and just say,
Capital 3, you kill all that. You could basically kill heroes because of their Sentinels. If you get doubled, but if you double them, I reckon none of the little heroes will be on the objectives.
It depends. It depends what heroes you've put on them in it. I mean, if you've got like Catacross and a Liege Cavalos ignoring a wound and surrounded by Dawnriders and Mortec Guard, you're going to be like, well, that's a bit harder than 3-5 weak heroes. But yeah, it depends. But
it depends on what you play against out there. It depends on the list that you play against. You may auto lose it. You may not, depending on what you play, I think.
I think as well, like having to put Teclis forward to score it, if it's not the right, because even if you sort of go, I'll go on turn 3 or whatever, it does depend. I just for me, like, it's cool. I think I struggle with Lumineth because I just don't think there's enough variation in the army for me.
Yeah,
like there's not enough. I would cool stuff, but I just don't like. I'm not really out of the big guys. Teclis doesn't do anything for me, and then I look at the other units and go, and they just don't have the
unless you take
the stuff really. I mean, the only things that I think are cool, like I would appeal to me, is the kind of the Avalon or Stone Guard list, but the like having lots of Dawnriders and Wardens. I mean, not only painting them, but I'm just like, well, they're cool. It looks martial, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I've not really played much against Lumineth, so
no,
but
it's one of those, isn't it? I look at it and go, like, yeah, you could lose that mission, but at the same time, you could win that mission quite easily, dependent on what you play against. Again, it's the same as you can only play what's in front of you. I do think that there is a distinct lack of not having heroes, like you said, having another hero in that list, but I feel that you give up too much reach out and do damage from that list by putting in Alfarian, even though Alfarian can fight. But
the other variant is to put Avalonor in, and you have 2 units of 10 Wardens, 10 Dawnriders, 5 Dawnriders, 2 10s of Sentinels, and the Sport Portal, and that's 2,000 on the nose. So, but it's a lot of points in 2 characters. But then that's but interesting. So
cool.
There you go. So there's
Sweet.
a Lumineth list for you. So
a different one, just a little bit different than the standard ones that you do with the battalions and stuff. But yeah, if you like the list, you think it's any good, let us know below in the comments or on the Discord if you're in the Discord. I'm sure we do get quite a lot of sort of engagement on the Lumineth shows, which is quite interesting. I think it's because they're quite a fancy army and they appeal to a lot of people. if you want to get more of this stuff, sort of like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we're still doing these every day at the moment on the run up to Christmas. So let us know what you think. Let us know if you like the Advent Calendar series.
Yeah, thanks guys.